What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the ACSA team reveals here on Maximum Football 2020. This is your boy John J. Gaming on the mic, and today we are here with part 4 of the ACSA team reveal mini-series, as we will go over the teams that make up the National Athletic Conference here in Maximum Football. This is the equivalent of the American Conference in real life NCAA FBS Division 1. So without further ado, before I introduce these teams, do me a favor and please smash that like button as well as hit subscribe if you happen to be new and are excited for more Maximum Football content here on this channel. If you also haven't checked out the previous parts yet, I encourage you to please check those out, as well as I will have a playlist in the description as well as in an end card at the end of this video, so go make sure to check those out as well. In the meantime, let's go check out the teams that make up the National Athletic Conference. So the first team that we have is the Alfred Tech Bulls, hailing from Alfred, New York, representing that blue and yellow, and are going to be replacing the Houston Hogs here in Maximum Football 2020 for the sake of the ACSA series. This is what their home jerseys are going to be looking like, at least for this upcoming season. This is also what their away jerseys are going to be looking like as well. You know, got that nice blue and yellow look, reminiscent of that team up north. And finally, this is what their helmets are going to be looking like for both their home and away games for this series. Checking out the roster for Alfred Tech, they are led by a dynamic duo in the backfield. Riley Smith looks to be a freshman phenom in his freshman campaign, gonna be the leader of his Alfred Tech football team, looking to make some serious noise around the country. He's gonna be joined by fellow true freshman Max Strock, who's got very good speed and an extremely strong running back as well. Look for these two to tear up the National Conference this season. Other guys to check out is Mohammed Gadanis is going to be leading the Alfred Tech defense for this upcoming season, as a sophomore with great size for the linebacker's position and has good speed despite weighing over 250 pounds. He's going to be a force to deal with as well. Other guys include Devin Anderson, who is a senior tight end who's got both the hands and the blocking abilities as well. Corey Riggs will anchor the offensive line, as well as John Etigo is going to be looking to lock up opposing wide receivers in this season, and comes in as also a true freshman. They also have a very strong offensive line as well, with Luke Summers and Logan Okorki accommodating Corey Riggs, and then have another great defensive lineman in Maurice Smith, a young team and 346 pounds coming out of high school. That is certainly insane. Look for these guys to do some damage for sure. Now we have the Alfred the Great University Saxons, who are going to be donning the purple and yellow, and are also going to be the rivals for Alfred Tech, as they are going to share the same city, only going to be a handful of miles apart. So definitely a rivalry game to watch out for within the National Conference. This is what Alfred the Great University is going to be rocking with their home jerseys, as well as what their away jerseys are going to be looking like for this upcoming season. And finally, here are the helmets for Alfred Tech. No need for a logo when you got that golden helmet, really to inspire fear in the opponents of Alfred the Great University. This team has quite a running back duo though. Xavier Warden and Vinny Kyle are both guys that can do some serious damage in the backfield. Look for them to run the ball heavily in the early portion of this season to establish that ground game. Other guys to check out include JJ Frederick and Alex Green, both experienced guys that can lock up the other team's top wide receivers, as well as Cameron Ajumobi, able to go in there and lock up the running game as well to prevent teams from going more than just a one-dimensional look. Someone to keep an eye on for the future though is Patrick Stanley. He's one of the best players on this roster, but he's only listed as the third string running back. Does he stay patient and stay on this team, or does he transfer to a different place? Same situation for Tyson Grant, a junior running back that's on the 4th string. Look for him to transfer as well potentially. Moving things over to the Western Echelon of the National Athletic Conference, we have the Becket Ridge Farmers, hailing from Becket Ridge, Ohio, on the complete opposite side of the eastern part of the National Conference, which resides mainly in New York. These Farmers are going to be donning the red and gold for this series, as well as this is their logo for within the game, and their custom logo for the thumbnail as well. This is what their home and away jerseys are going to be looking like, and I have to say that this is very unique in terms of what their font is. I don't really see any other teams using this particular font representing their university's name in the Becket Ridge. As well as here's what their away jerseys are going to be looking like as well. One will change, gonna switch this to white. I did not realize that uniforms were changed to a yellow jersey, just to keep it safe, so that if they're playing a yellow team, you could tell the teams apart, which would be nice. Finally, here is the helmet for Becket Ridge, going full yellow, as well as that letter B to represent the first letter in Becket Ridge. What Becket Ridge also has is experience at the top. They're going to be led by Jaleel Bischoff, who is a very talented quarterback, does have some decent scrambling abilities, but is more known for his arm. He can chuck it downfield like a Patrick Mahomes, as well as have the accuracy like Russell Wilson, when he was coming out of college as well. Look for him to really tear up national defenses across the country. And what makes it even better is that Benerick Beyer is his top wide receiver. Not the biggest guy in the world, only 5'8", but he has speed to absolutely burn. Look for him to get plenty of deep balls downfield from his quarterback. Other guys to watch out for is top linemen Trey Austin and Doug Davis, anchoring their respective lines. John Strand is also going to be there, anchoring that front seven as well. Upperclassman that's going to look to be really a leader for this defense. And then Marcel O'Neal, who has insane blocking and good hands in the red zone. A 6'7" target. Look for him to really do some damage. There also is a running back duo to keep an eye on as well, as both Rodney Johnson and Jeff Campbell make their collegiate debuts. Both bringing different things to the table, but they can both be utilized right away. Look for them to really be a great complement to this passing game. Returning back to New York, we have the City University of New York, home of the Beavers. You can already guess it. It is in the heart of New York City, replacing the Tulsa Golden Goats in this ACSA Dynasty. They're going to be donning that purple and black for the course of this series. This is also what their home jerseys are going to be looking like this upcoming season. Going to be rocking that purple and black with a little bit of white thrown in occasionally. As well as here's what their away jersey is going to be looking like. Definitely have some very interesting font for their numbers, but it is what it is though. And then finally here is the helmet for the City University Beavers. Full black helmet with the exception of the face mask and that beaver to represent their team nickname. While this team isn't quite as talented as the previous teams previously revealed in this episode, look out for a couple of guys. They got Tavon Vaden and Traquan Cruz, who while aren't the most talented, they do bring some good experience. And so when games are close, look for them to stay composed and potentially win some close games that they may not be expected to win initially. Other guys, they do have a foundation at offensive line with guys like Tyler Leonard and Morris Daniels out there blocking for their quarterback as well as trying to establish the run game. Defense is going to be a bit of a concern. Chris Stewart is their best defensive player, but he's only a 75 overall. They might have a hard time stopping offenses within the National Conference, so it might be some shootouts that they might have to get into in order to be the most successful. Other than that, other guys to watch out for is Liam Lancaster, who is a thunder complement for star running back Tavon Vaden. And then there's three receivers that he can throw to in Bobby Flutie, who is the long-distance nephew of Doug Flutie, who does sponsor the Maximum Football video game. Then we have Cody Cook and Rodney Clark as well, there to play complement and trying to get that passing game going for the sake of Traquan Cruz. Keeping things in New York, but moving out of the lights of New York City, we have Clinton University, home of the Knights. And you can tell that there is an abbreviation by Clintons. That's because there are actually 2 Clintons in this dynasty, one in New York and another in another conference that will be revealed in a later episode. But this is the Clinton Knights in Plattsburgh, New York, and are going to be rocking the black and tan over the course of this series. For their unis, no surprises here, got the white font, but other than that, mostly dark colors here with the exception of the number. Got a tan number for the home jerseys. And then on the road, once again, going mostly, lighter colors with, the number actually being much darker. And finally, completely black helmets represented by the Knight logo within this game. Over here, we may have one of the best wide receivers in this conference, Travis Jenkins. He's 88 overall guy with 6'3" frame. He's going to give defensive backs a lot harder of a time, considering not only he has good speed, but also because of that height, very good for jump balls. Speaking of jump balls though, Will Williams is a guy that can definitely chuck it down the field if he needs to, and has great frame too, 6'2", 222 pounds. Look for him to be an NFL prospect at some point during this dynasty. Other guys to check out is D. Jones, who is a true freshman but is an absolute speed burner. Can definitely add an additional dimension to this offense. Then there's linemen like Brandon Shield and Lamar Kelly, who are leaders that are going to help establish the trenches as well. Then Jalen Furrow is going to be a great blocking tight end for them to help establish that running game for their new running back weapon. Then finally, while he's not the most talented on earth, AJ Lavini is going to be the heart and soul of his team, like a Ray Lewis late in his career playing for the Baltimore Ravens. Finally, I don't point out kickers and punters very often, but they have a kicker that's 6'2", 225. This dude could definitely lay some people out in kickoffs if he's the last line of defense. Same thing to the degree for Taylor Player as well. He doesn't have that bad size either. He could also run some people over like Pat McAfee back when he played for the Indianapolis Colts. Up next, we go up to Vermont for the first time in this conference. We go to the University of Burlington Vipers, located in Burlington, Burlington, Vermont, as all the Virginia teams are in the Sunshine Conference back in part 1 of the series. Make sure you check that out, by the way. Anyways, they do have the black and gold and will be represented with that Cobra's logo both in the thumbnails and in the game as well. This is also what the uniforms are going to be looking like this upcoming season. They got the black and gold representing those home jerseys with the black uniform top and white bottoms on the pants. And then on the away team, these are what their uniforms are going to be looking like as well. Mostly white with the black and yellow stripes to complement the uniform. Same thing with the helmet, a mostly white helmet with a black and yellow stripe down the middle and a black face mask. As for this team though, they might struggle this season. They do have Anthony Hoffman, who is a promising quarterback, but for only being 5'11", he's not very quick. So definitely a bad sign for this Burlington football team. He's going to have to not only adjust to the collegiate level, but going to have to do it very quickly in order to have any hopes of being successful. Thankfully for him though, he does have a couple other weapons on this team. Ronald Hardrick and Alex Jacobs, are decent guys that do have what it takes to get open, but they're going to have to really prove that they can do it consistently in order to be able to move the ball downfield. Another thing about these guys is that their defense is definitely going to struggle this season. They do have a couple of leaders in Adam Jolly and Andrew Coley, but neither of them are honestly very talented for being the best players on that defense. So again, this might be a rough year in the books for the Burlington Vipers in Season 1 of the ACSA Dynasty. Up next, we have Philadelphia Tech, home of the Black Mamas. They actually just changed their team name recently to pay homage to Kobe Bryant, who did play high school basketball in the city of Philadelphia. So rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. This is for you, buddy. This Philadelphia Tech football team is going to be rocking the black and yellow really emulating the Mamba mentality that Kobe Bryant always has on and off the basketball court. And as such, here is that black and yellow jerseys that the home team is going to be wearing for Philadelphia Tech home games this upcoming season. And then here are the away jerseys that Philadelphia Tech is going to be wearing whenever they go on the road to play against other teams in the ACSA. Finally, here's what their helmet is going to be looking like as well, with that Mamba on the helmet, followed by a black and white background throughout the helmet. Unfortunately for them, they are really going to have to exhibit that Mamba mentality to be successful this season. When I look at this roster, there is not a lot to be excited about. We do have guys like Tremont Martin and Malcolm Rofe, as well as Devin Decker. But other than that, there's not really any talent on this roster that, is ready to compete at this conference. Maybe for a smaller conference they would have a better chance, but here in the National Athletic Conference, they are certainly going to struggle, and I wouldn't be surprised if they finished in last place this upcoming season, unfortunately. Jumping over to the state of Indiana, we have South Bend Tech, home of the Pit, which I believe is short for the Panthers, and that's just their new unique way of saying Panthers, I suppose. But they are located in South Bend, Indiana, rocking that black and red. And they do actually share, they do have an off-campus stadium. I believe they're playing in a dome, surprisingly. And so one of the few off-campus stadiums in this dynasty, so that's why they'll be playing in a dome this season while their current stadium is under construction. Anyways, this is what their home and away jerseys are going to look like. They're certainly very clean with that red logoing and the black jersey on top with the red pants. This is also what their away jerseys are going to be looking like as well, as they are going to be rocking, a white top, which is standard for all ACSA teams. All ACS teams are required to wear a white jersey for road games in order to tell the teams apart. But this is the helmet for South Bend Tech to top it off from a uniform standpoint. A mostly red helmet with a black stripe down the middle. And this is what their South Bend Tech uniforms are going to be looking like. Now, it's not very often that you see this, but the kicker is actually one of the best people on the team. That could be a really good thing if you're really a special teams kind of guy. Or if you're a person that likes actual football, you are not going to be very encouraged by that. To be fair though, Josh Dotson does have a pretty solid leg, so hopefully he can utilize that to help the rest of the team out in terms of swinging the game with special teams. Something to also keep an eye on is Corey Young and Austin Kane playing as that Lightning and Thunder duo, as well as tight end Hayden McKnight, who does have decent hands but is more of a blocking tight end kind of guy. Other guys to watch out for is guys like Keyshawn Falk, who comes in as a true freshman, does have the raw ability, but does need to learn a thing or two. Just needs to be more aware of what's going on, but if he can refine that, he can be a very good offensive lineman in the ACSA. Finally, their starting quarterback is Kenyon Jackson, who struggled in his freshman campaign, but going into his sophomore year, he did take some leaps and became the starting quarterback, most definitely. Let's see if that can hold for the entirety of this season. After that, we have the St. John Jakeys sailing out of Dayton, Ohio. So, for those of you that did not watch my previous main series, I had a team called the St. Thomas Tommies that had this similar color set. And the person that made this team, because all of these teams were made by the community, I threw in a couple myself to help out, but these are all user submissions that you're seeing on screen. The very similar color set, and this team was inspired by the St. Thomas series. And if you want to check that out by any chance, it will be on the main page of my YouTube channel, and I'll also make sure to link it in the description too for y'all enjoyment after the end of this video, of course, if y'all are interested in that. With that being said, no surprises here that they look very similar to the St. Thomas jerseys that are in NCAA 14 in terms of their home jerseys and their away jerseys as well. Only difference is they have a little bit more white in here than they did in the actual St. Thomas series. But, you know, still very similar with the exception of the logos that represent them in Maximum Football. So it is one gripe that I have. I wish you could change the color of the logos, but it is what it is. But this is what they're going to be rocking with for this upcoming season. Now, unlike in Season 1 of the St. Thomas Dynasty, where there was absolutely zero talent on that roster, this team is going to have a few guys that they can rely on from the jump. Guys like Mo Phillips and Paris Busey. Paris Busey could be that, you know, Andrew Green kind of guy. Isaiah Thomas, you know, in the later St. Thomas years, you know, can really step up and be a reliable receiver early on. They also have a resemblance of an offensive line as well, with guys like Sam Foster anchoring it, but Giovanni Tucker and Javon Heck also being very capable football players as well. Finally, they have a strong defensive presence, at least with their young talent, guys like Chandler Thompson and Willie Pringle being there to really be a nice mentor for the rest of his defense, as the rest of the team on that side of the ball is really coming along. So the next team that we are going to go over in the National Conference is the Sycamore Aviators, hailing from Sycamore, Ohio, calling that O-H-I-O. They're going to be rocking the yellow and green for this dynasty and will be replacing the East Greenville Panthers within Maximum Football during the course of this series. These are also what their uniforms are going to be looking like this upcoming season, dropping that green and yellow, you know, as this is what their home jerseys are going to look like, as well as this is what their away jerseys are going to be looking like as well going into this season. And to top things off, this is what their helmet is going to be out here looking like, with that plane on the top. You know, gotta represent that for the aviation, because Ohio is that birthplace of aviation, of course. They got the yellow helmet and the green face mask. But even though they may be the Aviators, they might not necessarily be taking flight. This might be a run-heavy team, actually. They do have guys like Romeo Simmons and Wendell Wiltz who are capable players, but it's going to be more of a story with their running back core. Terrell Forrest and Blake Lade are both going to be sharing backfield duties and could be a decent 1-2 punch. They also have some solid offensive linemen as well, as Vance Brown, Eric Howe, and Tyler Kirks are all, you know, freshmen and seniors and freshmen and sophomores, and both look to be very capable players. Also, people to note is Lonnie Johnson, who is one of the best defensive players on the Sycamore team, but they may struggle on defense this season. Moving on to West Virginia's favorite college football team in the ACSA Dynasty, we have the Vienna Patriots, home calling Vienna, West Virginia home. They're going to be rocking that blue and red for this dynasty, and will be replacing the Orlando Golden Knights in Maximum Football 2020. On top of that, this is also what their home jersey is going to be looking like, with a very sick numbers, if I say so myself. You will not find that in many other jerseys in the ACSA series, so that's really cool to see. And then this is what their away jerseys are going to be looking like as well going into this season. Meanwhile, here's what the helmet's going to be looking like, featuring the Flying Aces logo, it seems like, within the Maximum Football game. But you, of course, will see a different logo for a thumbnail of each video for each team that happens to play at least games that I show within the ACSA. This team is going to be anchored by Jordan Deal, 88 overalls, junior running back with great speed. He's going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting, as there's a little bit of an overall gap between him and the rest of the squad. There is guys like Emmanuel Phillips and Damian Sheldon that are ready to step up, but it's just a matter of them actually taking that chance, that opportunity. It also seems like the defense is going to be a stronger portion of this unit, as many of their best players are on the defensive side of the ball. Gotta go a little bit down screen to find their better offensive players, as they are led by Aces Phillips, who does have decent speed and a very good arm with above average accuracy as well. And for the last team in the National Athletic Conference, we have the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Regals that call Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania home, although it is in the Scranton area. where is the popular home of the Office TV series. They're going to be rocking the yellow and black in this Dynasty, and hopefully I got the custom logo right for you guys, because I wasn't exactly sure what a Regal was, so hopefully I got that right. If not, you can always let me know down in the comments and roast your boy, and I'll take it lightheartedly. In the meantime, though, this is what their home and away jerseys are going to be looking like in this series. Man, we're going to be rocking the black with the yellow and white stripes on the home jerseys. Meanwhile, on the road, it's going to be a white top and some yellow pants for the most part, showing more primary colors on the visiting jerseys versus on the home jerseys. And this is what their helmets are going to be looking like, full black with the logo they're going to be using within the Maximum Football game. Finally, get into this Scranton roster. Gotta check out for Brooks Zio, who's going to be quite a red zone threat, standing at 6'1", 226, and has great blocking. Look for him to be helpful in the rushing game. Also, a person to note is Trace Benjico, who is their second best player. Actually, is their kicker, which is usually not a good sign, but he is a good kicker, and there's other talented players on this roster. Other guys to watch out for is Didi Furlando and Javon Talbot, who look to be a dangerous backfield combo this upcoming season. As well as their best defensive player is Michael Dixon, a true junior with some solid cover skills. Hopefully that comes into play during the course of this season. So that is going to wrap up today's ACSA team reveals, where we go over each team in the National Athletic Conference. This time tomorrow, I will go after the first of the Power 5 conferences in the ACSA. We go over to the Atlantic Shore Conference, which is the ACC equivalent here in Maximum Football 2020, and go over each team in the Atlantic Shore. So it's going to be a good one, so make sure you smash that like button as well as hit subscribe if you happen to be new. Also, if you want to, I do have a playlist in the description as well as an end card at the end of this video if you want to check out the previous parts of the ACSA team reveals. Until then, I'll catch you guys next time, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.